All this while, we have seen how especially protesters take out in the streets and entire Colombo reverberating with one slogan, Gota Go Home. Now, after Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe has taken over as the acting president, we hear slogans being shouted asking Ranil to leave. Go out of power, asking him to go home. In fact, we understand from several of the protesters, these such protests will only intensify in the next few days. It's important to remember that Ranil will continue as the acting president for the next few days until a new president Sri Lanka gets. But it's also important to understand that one very unpopular name that is actually doing the runs for the president's post is of course of Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, and people say at the moment, citizens say that they also need Mr. Ranil to go home because they want clearly to oust the corrupt leaders, and that these protesters say if they could manage to oust Mr. Mahinda, Gotabaya Rajapaksa just with peaceful protests, they say they will continue with such protests until Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe also leaves, in fact, his seat. All this while, we've seen only Gota Go protests, but now for the first time, after he's taken over as the acting president, this is the first protest. Are we going to see more?
Okay, we will probably be seeing more depending on what the parliament will be deciding after their vote that is supposed to have happened today. That being said, the protest is to pressurize the ministers, the parliamentary ministers, in order for them to not vote Ranil as the acting president.
I think that's conspiracy. He just try to cover by the constitution, but this constitution also is not. It is not. It is. I mean that it is. It is some clauses of this constitution also not justified that you see. So that is true that he tried to become a president of Sri Lanka by some conspiracy.